Poor girl invited as a joke by CEO, but when she shows up pregnant, he's stunned. The night was cold, but the glow of the city lights never dimmed. At the edge of downtown Chicago, nestled in the silence of a forgotten neighborhood, 22-year-old Ellie waited tables at a diner barely holding itself together. Her apron was stained, her shoes worn down, and her swollen belly beneath the loose uniform spoke volumes of the quiet battles she fought daily. Ellie had never asked for much. She'd grown up in foster care, moved from home to home, and had finally aged out at 18. Her dreams of college had vanished under the weight of bills and survival. But she was strong, resilient. And when her boyfriend walked out the moment she told him she was pregnant, Ellie didn't cry. She worked double shifts, sold everything she owned except a picture of her mom, and told her unborn child each night, "We'll be okay. Mama's got you." That's when the strange invitation arrived. It came in a sleek black envelope, slipped under her tip jar at the end of a long, exhausting night. Inside was a card that read, "You are cordially invited to the Founders Gala at Kingsley Tower, 7 p.m., Saturday. Formal attire required." Ellie laughed. Kingsley Tower was the tallest, most luxurious building in the city. The gala was the annual affair hosted by CEO Nathan Kingsley, a billionaire known more for headlines than heart. Rumors said he'd inherited the company young, and ran it with cold precision. It had to be a joke. And she would have thrown the invite away, but then she remembered how the three college boys had smirked when they left the diner earlier that night. They'd laughed too hard at nothing. One had nudged the other and said, "Let's see if she shows." A joke. A cruel one. But Ellie looked down at her belly, then back at the card, and thought, let them laugh. Let them see me. I'm not ashamed of who I am. She spent the next 3 days prepping. A kind old woman at the thrift store gifted her a navy blue maternity gown. Her coworker, Denise, curled her hair behind the kitchen on her break. A regular customer gave her an old tube of lipstick and said, "Make them remember you." When Saturday came, Ellie stood before the glass doors of Kingsley Tower, trembling. Her heart pounded. People stepped out of sleek black cars and limousines, draped in diamonds and satin. And there she was, standing alone, clutching her tiny purse, her round belly impossible to hide. She expected security to stop her. But the invitation was real. Inside, the ballroom shimmered like a dream. Chandeliers cast golden light across polished marble. Waiters moved like whispers, offering champagne and hors d'oeuvres Ellie couldn't pronounce. The laughter was high-pitched and hollow. And then, she saw him. Nathan Kingsley stood near the center, sharp in a black tuxedo, a glass of scotch in hand, surrounded by suits and sycophants. He was younger than she expected, maybe early 30s, with a guarded expression and eyes that had forgotten how to smile. When he saw her, his gaze locked, not in mockery, but confusion. The crowd quieted just enough for the air to thicken. Ellie didn't flinch. She stood tall. The three boys from the diner were there too, standing behind Nathan, smirking, until he turned to them, his jaw tight. "What is this?" he asked sharply. "Just a bit of fun," one of them muttered. "Didn't think she'd actually show." Nathan's eyes snapped back to Ellie. "You were invited as a joke." She nodded, calm. "Yes. But I still came. Because no one should feel ashamed of being who they are." For a moment, silence reigned. Then Nathan set his glass down, stepped forward, and said gently, "You shouldn't be here alone. Would you mind sharing a dance?" The room froze. Ellie hesitated, heart thundering. "I don't dance well." "Neither do I," he said with a rare, almost boyish smile. "We'll figure it out." He offered his hand, and she took it. As they moved across the floor, whispers erupted. Phones rose discreetly. But Nathan didn't care. His grip was steady. "I'm sorry they did this," he said quietly. "People forget how to be decent." It's not your fault, Ellie replied. But it matters what you do next. Nathan was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, "What's your name?" "Ellie." He nodded. "Ellie, do you work?" "At a diner." "Nights." "I'm saving for a small place." He looked at her, really looked. Not at the cheap dress or the tired eyes, but at the strength behind them. "You deserve better," he said. "And yet, I'm still here," she smiled. "Life's funny that way." Later that night, Nathan asked his driver to take Ellie home safely. Before she left, he handed her his card. "Call me Monday," he said. "Not for charity. I just think we could use more people like you around." 3 months passed. Ellie didn't call. She couldn't. Life was too overwhelming, the baby was due any week, and she'd found a small studio through a women's shelter program. Every day was a storm of work and waiting. Until one day, Nathan Kingsley walked into the diner. He wore jeans and a hoodie this time, no entourage. Ellie nearly dropped a tray when she saw him. You came here." "I said we could use more people like you," he smiled. "And I meant it." He slid a folder across the counter. Inside was a job offer, administrative work, flexible hours, full benefits, maternity support. "There's also a scholarship fund I created in your name," he said. "For single moms who want to go back to school." Tears filled her eyes. "I don't understand," she whispered. "Because someone like you showed up to a place meant to break you, and stood tall," Nathan said. "You reminded me that kindness matters. That we don't rise by stepping on others, but by lifting them." A year later, Ellie stood on a stage at Kingsley Foundation's annual event, baby in her arms, as she delivered a short speech. "I was invited as a joke," she said, voice shaking. "But it led to the greatest chapter of my life. Because someone saw me, and believed in me." The crowd stood and clapped. Nathan watched from the front row, pride in his eyes. He hadn't just helped her, she had changed him. Inspired a company-wide policy on hiring underprivileged women. Sparked a movement of empathy in places where ego once ruled. In a world that often dismisses the poor, the tired, the struggling, Ellie had reminded them all. Dignity doesn't wear diamonds. And kindness never goes out of style.